Indiana returns to the small screen. Hey everyone, Evan, Permission Game, welcome back. If you are new here, definitely do me a favor, hit that subscribe button below. I do appreciate it, and we'll get moving with today's awesome story. Just announced by Lucasfilm Games, which is interesting. I mean, I miss LucasArts, let's just say that right there. I mean, LucasArts folded a number of years back. But anyways, we got Lucasfilm Games now through Star Wars, and they recently announced a whole plethora of awesome games coming out in the future that they plan on doing, including Indiana Jones. We didn't get a lot because literally it's just a teaser, but we do know a few things that yes, Bethesda and MachineGames are going to be working on this directly. So basically everything we loved about the new Wolfenstein reboot series, we are going to potentially see in the new Indiana Jones series as well. Now at the moment, this is supposed to be a standalone game on its own, so fingers crossed they can do a good enough job that this turns into a multiple video game franchise out of this. Harrison Ford has already made it very clear that he basically is done playing the roles of all of his different characters, including Indiana Jones. There are rumors that we're going to get a final Indiana Jones movie. If the actor's on his way out, there's a few questions that have to be asked about that as well with the game itself. What should we want and expect from a game? Because this is a genre where, I mean, we have two major titles, Uncharted and Tomb Raider, that already take up the kind of cave crawling, tomb adventure exploring world out there. I mean, do we need another version of that? I mean, why not? Because it's Indiana Jones, right? Indiana Jones is awesome. But in the past, when we've tried to reboot things that have been cool from movies or past, it doesn't quite work in today's kind of environment. We already have stuff that fills that void. Do we need more of it? This could be a really good adventure and exploration into a new opportunity for Lucasfilm Games. Now, I personally think there's a couple ways that we could go around this. Now, MachineGames has really spent a focus on first-person kind of shooter games. Now, they do a really good job with that first-person view, and Indiana Jones isn't really a shooter game, so there's a lot of different things we could see out of this. This could be MachineGames' entrance into kind of a third-person view, similar to what we see with Tomb Raider. Now, I don't know, like, again, to be able to separate itself, it's got to create a uniqueness for itself. So the ability to maybe switch between a first-person and third-person could be something that could be great to see within the game itself. Where we are in the world today, we already know what everything is, so creating a world that's completely brand new in a timeline or in a past history, you almost have to create a world underneath this world. Like, again, tomb raiding. We have to go to places that have never been discovered and will never be discovered because they are completely fictional. Honestly, that really doesn't matter to most gameplay. Like, we already know this is going to be a fun story. If we want to base it in some fact, some truth, or if we just want to have a good time, I wouldn't mind actually going more towards, and now again, I know this isn't the direction they're going, but I wouldn't mind going more towards a young Indiana Jones. You know, what did he grow up with? How did he become the Indiana Jones he is today? This will be based on the height of his career as an adult. Now, in fact, he is still a professor, so there's going to be some elements to that too, but really what could make this a fun game is if they just combine everything that we loved in Uncharted and in Tomb Raider and bring back some of the stuff that we wish those games would have brought. I mean, there's things about Tomb Raider, the fact that there's some stuff about it that it's extremely easy in the new games compared to what the old games were. The old games, you pulled a button, pushed a lever, and something would happen, but you didn't necessarily know where it was. You had to figure it out. Now, today's games are way too linear, even with the open world environment. But ultimately, this game could work well in a linear setting, similar to like a movie, like you're playing the movie versus watching one. Video games, streaming devices, things like that, you know, the idea of binge watching stuff on Netflix, it's all changing how we consume our media today anyways, so maybe a movie style game is better for what we need, again, because that whole genre is already kind of taken up by stuff that already works, instead of this open world kind of craze that's going on now with a lot of these games. We could also use some pretty cool stuff similar to like Breath of the Wild, some of the elements there where you kind of have to explore, some of the Assassin's Creed where you got to open up abilities at different places so you can teleport between different parts of the map. There's a lot that could be brought to and tied from other games, but we could also narrow right back down, like again, like a movie setting. You're following a very linear path that's set up in different segments, so you don't necessarily continue all the way through and go backwards, whatever you want. You play a sequence and then you move on to another sequence as if it was moving through the movie itself. There are tons of opportunities ahead of us for the Indiana Jones. Tell me what you think in the comments below and what you want to see. Honestly, is this a game you're even thinking about picking up? I love Indiana Jones. I love Star Wars. I love most of Harrison Ford's movies. I think they're great, except for the fact that he can't land a plane to save his life. I'm surprised the dude's still alive, honestly, but I do think this will be one to definitely definitely keep your eyes on. If it's coming out of Bethesda, it's gonna be good. Some of you probably wondering, is this gonna be an Xbox exclusive? We don't know yet, but I highly doubt it, simply because it makes zero sense for it to be only on the Xbox. Like, widen your horizons. PC, obviously with Game Pass, you got it on PlayStation as well, but having it in the Xbox kind of family gives you more opportunities and reasons to own Game Pass, and why it's going to be available either for free or an extremely discounted rate for those, and maybe even sooner than any other platform. I don't know. This could be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Tell me what you think below, and we will see you on another episode of Permission to Game. And like always, keep moving forward.